Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of Follow Suit Fashion Unfiltered. And to all my first-time viewers, I usually would go into a spiel after my introduction and give you a little background about what Follow Suit is about, when I would say that it's a mantra, meaning to follow the suit, and as you follow it, it's going to lead you to the fact that the suit is a mentor and also a role model to give guidance to the young men in this community. And as I bring guests up on the show, is to honor and salute them for doing the work in the community with these young men. But today, since Father's Day is coming upon us, we're going to do a special episode. And we're going to reach into the backbone of what Follow Suit really was about, what triggered it for me and got me started in this. And it started with the senseless violence of the young men in our community. And I got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore, so I tried to make a change, and this is my way of trying to make a change. And when this violence happens, no disrespect to the mothers out there, a lot of time all the spotlight gets put on the mothers who lose their child, and the fathers is a forgotten fact. But there's also fathers who are involved. And so I have guests that I brought on today who ironically lost their firstborn sons to the street violence here in our neighborhood, in our community. And unfortunately, one of my guests, he couldn't make it today, so this is dedicated to him, Anthony Perry, and his son, TP. May they rest in peace. And so I'm going to introduce my two guests, Sohail Wright and Lance Hargrove, who two of my friends who, like I said, they lost their firstborn son to the street violence. And so I say I got to honor them today and shine a spotlight on them and see if we can, maybe do some healing right here today. Maybe it needs to be talked about. But, as I said, black fathers matter, and that's what we're here to put forth today. So how you doing today, my man? So how's everything?
Good, my brother.
It's good. I'm glad you can make it. My man Lance, everybody know Lance Hargrove. I call him Duke.
How you doing?
How's everything with you?
Everything's okay, sir.
Okay, so here we can start with you if you want to talk about how old was your son when that tragedy happened, if you don't mind talking about it.
Sure. He was 15, but he would be turning 16 the next month. His birthday is June 27th. He passed on May 7th. So, yeah, he was 15. And tragically taken from me and my family on May 7th at approximately between 7 and 8 in the morning. He was on his way to school. I dropped him off before I went to work. And I got a phone call from his mom. And she said that somebody, she didn't say my son, she said somebody was shot at the bus stop. But I know my son is the only boy at the bus stop besides the girls that he, rides the bus with from that area. So I left my job. In the midst of making my way to the area, I got a phone call saying that he was at the hospital. So I went straight to the hospital. And it wasn't good when I got there, man. It was like the worst feeling in my life. To see the child, laid out with bandages on him, it was just like, it was crazy. Like I didn't even, it was just crazy, period.
Yeah. On his way to school, am I right?
Absolutely.
On his way to school.
Yes. So, and then, as the hours go by, I had to deal with the fact that, he had no brain activity. His body was shutting down, so it's like, do I keep him on the machine and let him suffer, or do I, that was the toughest decision I ever had to make in my life. So
decision that you shouldn't have to make.
Right. No parent should have to bury their child in those circumstances, you know? So it was definitely a life changer for me. I looked at people, I looked at life differently, period. Just, you know, I was angry, sad, it comes with all kinds of emotions, you know? That's basically it, man, you know?
Yeah, that's terrible. Lance, you want to tell us how little Lance was when he passed?
Yeah, little Lance was 15 at the time, actually, when he died too. Also the same age as little So-hezzy was tragically, taken away from us. Yeah, he was 15. A day before my birthday, which was, so every year my birthday comes, that's a reminder of me losing my son. So that's like another level of emotions that I go through, but it is what it is. But I was away on vacation, tragically got that phone call from the mom saying meet her at the hospital. By the time I got to Boston, because I was out of town at the time, I was picked up at the airport, and the person I was with at the time, I just seen her face, and as soon as I seen her face, I knew my son was like, it was like he was near death, or he was gone. So as soon as I got to her, like we embraced or whatever, and she told me, that my son was gone, and I made it to the hospital. By the time I got to the hospital, there was really no one there. So I made it over to his home where he was living at the time. And, like all the tragedies that happening across this country with all our youth, with all our sons, with all our daughters, with everything. Whole crowd out in front of his house. Everybody's crying, everybody's drinking, smoking. It's just a scene that if people know where I'm from and you guys are from, you know what I'm talking about. It's the same scene as all over the place. So, I had to go through it. For me personally, I took it not as saying that my son's death was a blessing, but I know the blessings that I have gotten since his death came from him. Definitely came from him looking over me, looking over my family, making sure that I'm all right. So, I haven't had that feeling since then. Hopefully I won't. I mean, close family members, tragically lost people. We just got through the pandemic, so I know people that lost their lives from that. So, but I just feel like it was a blessing that I received all the things that I've had just from him looking over me and my family. I'm getting over it, but like my brother Sohail said, day by day, hour by hour is hard. No parent should bury their seed. No parent should see their seed's friends, siblings go through what they won't want no one else to go through. So it's kind of hard, but I'm here. I'm surviving it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I sit here and it's like when I touches on me the fact that it's two of my friends, and I'm like, damn, two of my close friends, both of them lost their firstborn son. And it's actually three, but the other one couldn't be here. So I have three friends that I have to kick it with, look in the face. And I don't know what to say to them. But this is why we're here, to bring some light and hopefully make a difference. And like I said, no disrespect to no mothers out there. No one should have to bury their child. But the father, there are good fathers, black fathers matter, and there's some that are not being mentioned or also being put into the light or anything when these type of tragedies happen. So I said I'm going to try to do that today. You know, there's marches, there's rallies and everything. I don't know. Some people don't want to do counseling. Maybe is there a counseling group for fathers who lost their child?
When my son died, they had, the Peace Institute. They have a guy person come around, make sure that you're all right. Make sure that you ain't gonna cause no violence, because that's what they're really there for. But that lasts maybe about 2 or 3 weeks, and then they give you a form, a paper, and say if you need any more help, call these people, and they'll talk to you. But come on, we're from the hood, right. And ain't no person really gonna talk. I know me personally, ain't gonna really tell me how to feel about my son being taken away from me. Right. When he shouldn't have. There's no way that my son should not be here. But that's another story. I'm not even gonna tip onto that. But I love my son. I miss my son, and he was tragically taken away from us and our family. And we gotta try to, put some light on it so we can stop this, because it really needs to be stopped, and it's gonna stop. It's gonna start with us. We can't raise our kids to grow up into an environment where we're just hating the other person, the next man's kid, because tragically, my son knew his killers. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like people don't know people. When people know people, when people talk to people, when the community come together and community talks, it saves a lot of lives. It definitely saves a lot of lives. So we can all just come together and try to come up with a bond for everyone, and everyone not just looking upon the next person and being hateful or being jealous, or just, want the next person to just strive and be the best they can. That's what we need to do, so our kids can see that we're doing it and they can do it. And then they can pass it on to their kids, and their kids can pass it on to their kids. We got to get out this cycle, because this cycle is going nowhere.
Yeah, I actually went to counseling through my insurance, my job, and at first I felt it to be beneficial, because I wasn't too comfortable with talking about it, period.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I was confiding in a lady or whatever, but then I got to a point where I felt like, she's there for the check. She don't feel my pain. She don't understand where I come from, because the conversations that we was having, she couldn't relate to, because she's not from the inner city, and I just didn't feel like it was helping me. You know what I mean? So I cut it, and then I just started dealing with it and coping with it on my own. Not saying that was the right way, because I found myself, self-medicating, drinking a little bit more than what I would usually do.
Right.
And but it helped me. That's what helped me. I had to help me. I had to do me. Right. I couldn't deal with going to talk to somebody who was a complete stranger, and I didn't feel like it was genuine when I was talking. She was giving it back to me, so I felt like, why am I here? Why am I, at first it was comforting, I ain't gonna lie to you, but after a while, I was like, I'm all set, I got this from here, and maybe that wasn't the best thing to do, but it worked. I'm still standing, so, that's how I look at that. Not a day goes by that I don't think about my son, excuse me, but, it gets a little easier to cope with. It's never gonna go away, never, because that was a tragedy. It's not like he passed from natural causes or health like that. He was snuffed out,
Right, exactly. And the thing is, sometimes people don't even realize that you can do all you can and be in your child's life, and these things happen. Right. It's just talking off camera to one of my producers. He has a son who's 17, and he knows us. I have 4 boys, and my sons, all our kids will be probably in the same age group and ranks or whatever. And
my boy would have been 24.
Yes, and
24 right now.
Yeah, my son would be going on 28 this month.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I got a son 30 years old. as
Right.
well.
So
you know,
that's all in the same
all in
age
the
bracket.
same, in the same age was the fact that him raising his son, like he says, you know, no matter how much hands-on he is in grooming him or whatever, like he said, it touched him into reality of the fact that even though you're hands-on and you groom him and you do everything that's right, it still can happen.
Right.
So the worry factor has to be there, especially in the environment that we are being in. So like Lance says, we got to change our environment. We got to change our community, you know, and they got to start with us as the parents. And I'm going to say this to a lot of young men out there. Take this, you know. I don't want to hear my baby mama crazy. Forget the baby mama. That's your child.
Right.
Stop using that as the excuse.
Right.
So these young men can start growing up without knowing what it means to have a man in their life who's giving them the steps to be men and not have that negative way of thinking and that video way of thinking and all what they see on TV and these other things and hooking up and clicking up and all that. You know, there's some that we can't get to who's already past that level and I can't change them, but we can start now with the ones who are coming up from the babies on up and we can keep it going.
And even the ones that we can't change, we can still try.
Exactly.
Right, absolutely.
Exactly. That's what we're here for.
Just
We're
keep
going to
feeding
try.
it, keep feeding the positive.
Because eventually they'll try, because we was all knuckleheads at one time. So
Exactly. We all, you know, we all three of us sitting here. We got the same track record. We got the same track record, ladies and gentlemen, but we're trying to make a difference.
some of us a little bit worse, but we in the same bracket.
Right. True story.
You know? Some of us a little bit worse, but we here. We here.
You know, so like I said, this is a special episode. We're giving, we're paying homage and, you know, we're not letting the memory die of those that we have lost. We're going to honor them today and salute them, and we're going to pray for them. You know, we know they're in a better place. And like I said, Black Fathers Matters, and this episode is dedicated to the Black fathers out there trying to make a difference, those who are making a difference, and those who might see this and realize it's time for them to make a difference. So y'all want to say any parting words?
Yeah, shout out to all the fathers, the Black fathers, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay positive. Let's work on these kids, man. That's all I can say.
Take care of your kids. I want to shout out my son, Josiah Hartgrove, my daughter, Shalance Hartgrove. I love y'all. Daddy love you forever. Your brother's always looking out for you. Rest in peace, Duke. Always,
Rest
else
in
forever.
peace, Soul Hill, Little
Rest in
Lance,
Peace, Zoe.
Little TP.
A lot of people don't know that they call me Zoe, but that's not my name. That was my son's nickname. But I just,
Rest in peace,
I just,
Zoe,
you know,
TP. They
I
all up
enhanced
there
it.
looking down. Y'all. Peace.
All right, y'all. We're going to wrap this show up, and I hope everybody tunes in for our next episode. And that's a wrap. That's all I got for y'all today.